What up, is Marcus? I had a little escape from the channel just because our family got sick. We live in Minnesota. It is the middle of winter. Unfortunately, sickness happens, and so we are now, I think, recovered. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. So I want to discuss some pre-playoff primer here, especially if you have a bye, what you could be doing here to help propel yourself into a potential winning matchup here and try to get yourself into this championship matchup. Some of this is redraft stuff. We're going to be talking a little bit about defenses. I know some of you guys don't play with defenses, so we're actually going to start off with that right off the bat, and then we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty stuff. Defenses. Look at the defenses, especially if you have a bye. Look 2 weeks out. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles playing the Giants. I know the Giants are looking a little bit better with Mr. Tommy, but still, they're the offense that has given up the most amount of points to the opposing defense in fantasy football-wise. Jets are another one. You just have to look at some of these teams, and you have the luxury to not have to look at this week, but look another week out in advance. Heck, if you got a kicker in a dome matchup or a kicker that might be in a, and I know a lot of teams don't play with kickers, or a lot of leagues don't, and a lot of mine don't either, but if you have a kicker that, heck, is going to be a bad weather matchup, go find the kicker in a dome. Go start making some of these moves. And one of the most important moves, we're going to go into point number 2 here. So, number 1, look at the matchups for the defenses. Look at some of the matchups for some of these players. But also, look at what your potential opponent has and some of the handcuffs that potential opponent and your own handcuffs. Look at some of these players. If you have a roster spot or two available, and you're looking at, or look at what your opponent's weaknesses are, which we're going to talk about very shortly. But if you are if you see, hey, my opponent has Josh Jacobs, likely going to miss a week or could miss a week. Heck, they have Austin Eckler. Let's say they have Austin Eckler. Well, maybe it's worth to pick up a Josh Kelly or Isaiah Spiller just in case Eckler gets hurt, or if you have a still having the sickness, Kyren Williams. Maybe you go and get the backup. Maybe you have, maybe your opponent, you're the 1 seed. You play that 4-5 matchup, which some of our leagues don't reseed. So we know that we're going to play in the 4-5 matchup. And the 4 seed has Breece Hall, and the 5 seed has Kenneth Walker. And you're looking going, is Zach Charbonnet, is Dalvin Cook on the wire? Because if he loses one of those players and can't pick up a replacement, he's going to be at a huge disadvantage for that next week. And so that is so important to look at. So look at some of these handcuffs. If you have a team, again, kind of into point number 3, that has a weakness. There's a team that lost C.J. Stroud and Herbert. The team that has to play them has 1 week, or has a little bit more fab, went out and got Matthew Stafford. Got the best quarterback. They don't need that quarterback. They want to block that team from getting Stafford. And now that team has to go get a lesser quarterback or a lesser chance of a good quarterback. And so look at the matchups. Look at what your tight ends have been hurt galore. If you're a team that desperately needs a tight end, you don't want the opposing team to block you and get that tight end. So if you're in fab, if you have that waiver priority, this is the time that you might want to block that potential 4 seed or 5 seed or whatever team that you might be a little bit more scared of. And so a lot of times if you're the 2 seed, you're looking at that 3-6 matchup and you're going, man, that 3 seed's scary. I need to figure out what can I do that next week. So when it's 2 versus 3, you have that advantage. It's not 55-45. It is 65-35. And that extra 10% matters so much. And so I see teams that just waste this time. In fact, I had a friend who was just like, yeah, I got a bye week. I'm good to go. Like, I just kind of sit back and relax. I'm like, no, you don't sit back and relax. You figure out what you can do now to help make yourself win when the bye week comes along. So many times do I see that 2 seed, that 1 seed, they're like, yeah, I'm good. And that 4 seed, 5 seed just wipes through them because they didn't make any moves. They didn't prepare themselves. They just kind of sat back and relaxed. And if you're a team that has Dallas defense, who's playing really good offenses, especially Josh Allen, and they play a couple other good offenses as well. If you're a team that's looking at that and goes, hey, I might need a different defense, or I might need to handcuff that player. What happens if that player gets hurt on a bye? How many times have countless times have I had a team go, I'm great, I have 2 good running backs. And then all of a sudden their matchup happens and now they're down to 1. Or sometimes in a really bad situation, they're down to none. And so there's a team another team, Herbert. It's a dynasty, bigger dynasty league. They had no preparation on backups. They had Herbert and nothing else in backups besides, Kenny Pickett. And Trubisky was available. They decided, I don't want Trubisky. I don't need him. And now they blew all their fab. I am their opponent. And guess who's out? There's only one starting quarterback available. It is Mr. Joe Flacco. They actually have a couple bucks. But guess who has more money? It's me. And I don't need a quarterback. But guess who is going to be claiming Mr. Joe Flacco? It is moi. And so you have to look at your opponents and say, well, what do they need? They need a quarterback. Well, he's going to be quarterbackless, which for his QB2 spot, which means he'll just go to a different position, which is fine. Actually, no, it's one QB league. It's a one QB league dynasty league. Yeah, never mind. No, he's going to be quarterbackless unless he's got. But I think he may have Easton Stick. I have to look back at that. But again, Easton Stick or Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky at least we know what we're going to get from that. Easton Stick might be just rough. And so what would I rather have now? Probably Trubisky. But I mean, again, you have to. Flacco. I'd rather have Flacco over any of those two. But whether it's Easton Stick or Trubisky. So again, you have to look and prepare yourself. And sometimes you're fighting every single week. But if you get a little bit of a breather, this is the time to make these big changes. So again, we're going to be talking. I want your questions below on what moves you need to do to help yourself in the playoff primer. We're going to try to do another video or two, hoping my family doesn't get sick here. So peace out. Take care. We'll see you really soon. Good luck on the first week of playoffs. I also got the number 2 seed in the Dynasty Dads League. I am the defending champion. Let's see if I can repeat. And, I guess I get to sit back and relax. Just kidding. Never relax. Go out there and make your moves. Peace out. Take care.